So now we are able to play the game. Whoop whoop. And yeah, let's see how the demo version of Love, Money and Rock and Roll is. These falling sakura petals. Does anyone actually find them beautiful? Does anyone actually find meaning in how they twirl around? Maybe it's the colors, the purple velvet against the setting sun, that we find mesmerizing. Back then, looking at the falling petals, I probably used to believe that as well. I think too much time has passed. I have forgotten and I have changed. Only the trees are still the same, it's not like they care. They were born before I was and they will outlive my descendants. They don't mind, they don't care about the beauty of the falling petals, its velocity, tilt or vector. Why would they care about such trivialities? For them, this is merely a routine change of seasons. But for me, it's a flood of memories. The tree in front of me looks identical to how it did back then. The day I had to do something and the day I was too late to do anything. It looked the same. The petals were falling the same way with treacherous indifference. After all, they really didn't care. They don't give a damn whether some photographer will turn pictures of them into an entire exhibit or whether some loving couple will perhaps fall even deeper in love after basking in their eternal dance. But that's how nature is. That's not how I am. Just like on that day 1 year ago. The petals were falling back then as well. And back then nature was also, no, not dying, but falling asleep, so that come spring it could kindle its flame, the flame of life anew. Sitting under this tree I remember all the happiness, I remember all the sadness. Do you really love me? Yes. Really? Yes. She turned away, yet the petals kept falling, tangling themselves in her hair and making her even more beautiful. You know, sakura petals look good on you. She turned around. Probably without wanting to. She was probably waiting for something more. A charming phrase, some clever words. Anything but this. Really? Yes, of course. She smiled. I was probably waiting for something else too. Feelings, confessions as beautiful as a fluttering petal. Back then those words were more important to me than anything else. More important than the tree, more important than that moment, more important than life. I finally understood that those words were much like those petals, but resting in my hands instead of falling on the ground, so close, so fragile, so precious. Sorry. Just remember, this is just a demo version. The game is not yet fully released and the developers are searching for money, so visit their Kickstarter and give them your money. I woke up. Wait, what the menu? Okay, this is the main menu. Maybe now I can fiddle around a little bit. What's this? Oh, that's to hide the UI. Oh, back. Okay. So this is auto modus. This is the text box here. Oh, no, wait, what are you doing? Okay. As usual, the fan was humming detestably. Its noise was probably what woke me up. It was a necessary evil. In the summer heat, not even open doors would do. Oh, and another small info is this game is set in the 80s in Japan, so yeah, we'll get some nice 80s vibe. It was 3 a.m. and the silence was hideous. Dear God, give me anything, a police siren, some noisy drunk neighbors, or the screeching wheels of a speeding car. Anything but this detestable hum of a fan. I would have turned it off long ago if it didn't mean letting the heat cook me alive. Yeah, summer in Japan is far worse than winter in Russia. With some effort I got up and went to the kitchen to get some water. And the scenery here, the pictures are really great. So much details. Wow, amazing. Damn, this is great. Okay. Although, what is winter in Russian like? The floorboards creaked softly under my feet. The rest of the house, 3 bedrooms and a living room, if we don't count the pantries and the bathroom, was sound asleep, not paying any mind to its single inhabitant. It was 3 a.m. on the dot. I gulped the water down greedily, spilling most of it over myself. So, tomorrow I have to go to school. Actually, do I really have to? Says who? Maybe I was the one to come up with these dumb responsibilities and duties for myself, this need to communicate with people and to await the day when I'll be given a useless sheet of paper showing me to be in possession of an average intelligence. I probably made up this world as well. I made it up alongside all the other words I have to make up every day, for myself, for the people I know, and for the whole world. I have to adapt to the stupid conditions of one of these worlds, the one that, by great misfortune, is considered real by most people. I poured myself another glass of water and headed back to bed. The moon was shining brightly, highlighting every mote of dust. In its almost mournful light, my room looked completely unlike itself, like a portal to another world. A world that even I couldn't make up. The silver light fell on the desk, slowly crawling toward the pile of papers. Class notes, an unfinished novel, letters. From Mum, from friends in Russia. And I stood up and put the heap of papers away into a drawer. Has it been a year since it arrived? Or why do I even have to care? On the other hand, why was it lying on the table in the first place? I should have thrown it out a long time ago. I leaped up, took a step toward the desk and froze. But how? I've already tried. More than once. The telephone rang loudly. Okay, maybe I should set it a little bit more. Ambient sounds, overall sounds, music a little bit less. Okay, yeah, that's better. Very loudly. 3 a.m. Who could possibly need a miserable student mired in self-reflection at this hour? Well, I'm used to it. Hello? Hello, are you awake? What do you think? I just wanted to hang up and disconnect the phone. But not as much as I wanted her to be here right now, next to me. Why are you awake? How should I know? Probably because you've called me. She muttered something inaudible. How are things anyway? How are they supposed to be at 3 AM anyway? Well, I don't know. Perfect? Then they are perfect. Don't mock me. Then what did you want to hear? I mean, just to call. You mean it's normal to call someone at 3 AM? I thought that your kitchen light was on, so I knew you weren't asleep. Are you spying on me? No, I just... well... The receiver fell silent for a few moments. She was probably thinking of something that didn't sound too silly. I just couldn't sleep either. Why either? What if I was asleep? But you're not asleep. Alright, let's try this again. What do you want? I wanted to know... She stopped mid-sentence as if to gather courage and then continued, this time with confidence. Are you going to be at school tomorrow? What if I will? Then I'll stop by tomorrow morning. Thanks, why? Thanks, that's just what I needed. It's 3 AM and you're offering to stop by. When? In 3 hours? Well, yeah, so you won't be late. You know, in that case, I think I'll unfortunately have to decline. You can't keep skipping classes, you'll end up dropping out, and then you won't find a good job, and then... Her predictions of my future were completely off the mark. That's not a big loss. What do you mean, no loss? Don't lock the door tomorrow morning. You have the keys. What does it matter if I lock the door? Alright, well, see you tomorrow then. Theo. I decided not to argue, I simply didn't feel like it. What would be the point anyway? She'd come and wake me up either way. As is the case almost every day. Why did I ever give her my keys? Well, that was a while ago. About a year ago, I think. Sakura petals were probably falling on that day too. To hell with those petals. I need to set my alarm clock so that I can wake up before she arrives. It's not all that important, I'm just tired of her waking me up. And not only tired, after seeing that familiar face before me each morning, I might have gotten too used to it. Maybe I've even become dependent. I certainly couldn't let that happen. If she wanted to come by in the morning, be my guest, but I wouldn't let her wake me up anymore. The ringing of 100 bells in my head, each one playing a different melody, announcing the arrival of a new morning. Oh man. Accompanying them was cheerful birdsong, the construction site a street over, the lovely voices of street peddlers, the incessant hum of that godforsaken fan, and nearby disgruntled grunts. An icy glare from 2 giant green eyes, puffed out cheeks, and 2 red pigtails I had definitely overslept. Nice art style. What time is it? The girl picked up my alarm clock and shoved it in my face. But it's still early, I protested. The early bird gets the worm. This is Himitsu. I've known her for all my life, I think. At the very least, I've known her since I moved to Japan with my parents. Himitsu's mother is Russian, but she and her father divorced back when we were still little. Come on, enough lazing about. Get up, wash up, eat your breakfast and let's head for school. This was my start to almost every day. After all these years, I was used to it. Oh, right, I should introduce myself. Hello, my name is Michael, I'm a streamer here at Twitch or YouTube. Nice to meet you. No, that's not it. My name is Nikolai and I'm a high school senior. Nico-kun. Kun is a Japanese honorific used when addressing male friends or junior subordinates. Oh, cool. It's introducing us to Japanese culture. Nice one. Himitsu's voice carried throughout the entire house. Suddenly it wasn't so empty and lonely here. I quickly washed myself, dressed and headed for the kitchen. Naturally, this house was too large for just one person. After all, it was designed for a multi-generational family. Grandpa, grandma, mom, dad, kids, grandkids. Its emptiness was weighing down on me even when my parents were still here. And now I definitely felt like I was living in a museum or a library. Who in their right mind would live here? Would live there alone? Wow, nice 80s soundtrack, eh? Nice. Enjoy your breakfast. You too. Fried eggs and several types of vegetables, salads were displayed on the table. I lazily moved a piece of cucumber around with my chopsticks. You're not hungry? I am, but I'm no cow to feed on grass. Himitsu frowned. Do you think those instant noodles are better? I don't know about better, but definitely tastier. Hey! She puffed out her cheeks, similar to a hamster. I tried really hard. KO. I had nothing to retort with, so I focused on eating. What are you planning to do this afternoon? I don't know. I think Yusuke wanted to go to the movies. Why, did you want to do something? She set down her chopsticks and looked at me as if she was about to say something important. Maybe? And then she started laughing, trying to hide her embarrassment. Never mind, it's not important. Himitsu is in love with me. I figured that out a long time ago, but I never did anything about it. At some point I became so used to it that I no longer knew whether she loved me as a brother or a man. And honestly, I didn't care. If you want to go somewhere, I can reschedule the movie. Kyosuke can see it by himself just fine. Her face gleamed with a sincere smile. Actually, I wanted to stop by the store that opened recently near the station. The girls in class have been talking about it non-stop these days. Perhaps anyone else in my place would have considered this a date, but I simply enjoyed spending time with Himitsu. In any case, she also seemed quite satisfied with this arrangement. You haven't finished eating! Nor was I going to. What if I have to eat this grass for lunch too? Why can't you just make some pelmeni or borscht for once? That's not breakfast, and I did make them before. Himitsu got offended. She did, yeah, but they were nothing like how they were in my childhood. I didn't have the guts to tell her that. It's one thing to not know how to do something, it's always possible to learn. It's another thing altogether to know something and to do it, but to achieve an unexpected result. If that's the case, there's a chance you will never learn. Yeah, sorry, your borscht is delicious. Borscht. Yeah, borscht. I repeated. Himitsu glared at me. Anyone else in her place would have poured this imaginary borscht over my head a long time ago. What was that store you mentioned? A clothing store. She replied, her eyes still boring into me. Dresses, sweaters, skirts, clothing, women's. Maybe you're better off going with one of your female friends. I'm not refusing, of course, but it would be a bit awkward. Why? I don't know. That's how it is here, and you know that I'm not too good with local customs. And that was the earnest truth. Most people would have long gotten used to the Japanese way of life, its traditions and societal customs, or at the least to the customs of the local high schoolers. Well, nobody's going to think anything like that. It's not like Himitsu became utterly embarrassed, which in turn seemed to anger her. I wasn't even sure who she was angry with, me or her own self. Sometimes when I would talk to her, and not only her, I would reach an impasse. I wouldn't understand what was expected of me, and the person I was talking with wouldn't understand why I didn't understand. And so the meaning of the conversation would become buried under a heap of misunderstandings that would grow in size with every phrase. In moments like these, it was easier to stay silent or to agree. Alright, fine, nobody will think anything. Why would they? Exactly! Himitsu said triumphantly and left to wash the dishes.